have been a disappointment. Last week, even in the game against USC, they're +2 in turnovers. They dominate the fourth quarter, and the kicker comes in and misses the extra point. They don't cover the number. It was a brutal beat if you had Arizona plus the points. But I'm not seeing the Kevin Sumlin turnaround. Haven't seen it yet, for Arizona off that bad start. And Tate just doesn't look like the same QB he was a season ago.
Teddy, we got New Mexico, UNLV, 62 is the total, and it looks like UNLV laying 8.5 or 9, mostly 9s now in the marketplace. What are you hearing on UNLV there in town? Is it and Armani Rogers? He's banged up, right?
He sure is. Both teams are banged up at the QB position, and this is a game with a ton of question marks. We have seen a fair bit of money for the Lobos in the contest because of Rodgers being banged up, and it doesn't look now as if he's going to be able to go necessarily. And the fact that, say what you want about UNLV, home favorite has not been their role at any point in the last 2 decades, and I can say that as someone that's lived in Las Vegas for the last 2 decades, laying points with even in the Tony. I mean, it's been regardless of coach, but even in the Tony Sanchez era. As a home favorite, they did have one winning season in 2015 ATS, but that included Idaho State, which they don't have on the card this year. And, of course, you all remember UNLV last year laying 45 at home to Howard, a game they lost in straight-up fashion. Bob Davies squads have given the Rebels a fair bit of troubles in recent years. I don't like this New Mexico team. And again, I talked about Liberty, and I haven't seen Liberty play. I didn't see them. I didn't see the box score when they wiped out New Mexico. And it's a Lobos team that just, there are years where it seems to click, and there are years where it doesn't seem to click quite so much. And this year for New Mexico, they just haven't been able to put it together. And again, coming off a 3-9 campaign last year. If Davey had 2 winning seasons in Albuquerque, and this is his 7th year on the job, he certainly is under pressure right now. Although it's, New Mexico's, I'm not going to call it a hopeless program, but it's kind of a hopeless program.
And Teddy, UNLV's kind of located, they're still at Sam Boyd Stadium, right?
Yes, which is, I would call it one of the weaker home fields in college football.
Okay, and are they going to be there next year until the new stadium's up, or?
Yeah, I haven't. Is it official that they're playing at the Raider Stadium?
I don't know.
I honestly haven't followed it.
Okay.
I know there was talk they were going to play at the Raider Stadium, but as to whether it actually happened or not, I don't know. And I think UNLV can't sell out an NFL stadium. They couldn't sell out half an NFL. It'll be like Tulane when they used to play in the Superdome. There'll be 6,000 fans at the bottom, and that's that.
Yeah, although a lot of the new stadiums, like Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, they have like new features where the upper deck becomes like covered and it kind of looks nice, and it becomes a really smaller stadium for like soccer and stuff. So I could see them kind of transforming it into that for UNLV games.
Maybe. But the bottom, I honestly don't know. Okay. It's still. I mean, UNLV's not. The stadium's not going to be built till 2020, so it's not anything's going to happen next year.
Good stuff, Teddy. We got 373, 374 Northwestern, Michigan State, 43.5 the total with Sparty laying 10 in East Lansing.
Yeah, and I mean Northwestern's given this. You want to talk, and again, sometimes they are regardless of the record, regardless of the team, just every year this squad, that squad, trouble. And Northwestern just gives Michigan State trouble. I mean, they had last year triple overtime. Wildcats won on a touchdown in the 2-point conversion, 39-31 final. The year before, they won in East Lansing, 54-40. So their offense has worked against Sparty's defense. And, I mean, Northwestern certainly gave Michigan everything they could handle last week. The offense couldn't get the job done in the second half, and they kind of let it get away from them at the end. So from a spot standpoint, you worry about them hitting the highway here off that type of a defeat. But, I mean, Michigan State, there are things to like about Michigan State. Michigan State is big chalk. Double-digit chalk is not my favorite role for a Mark D'Antonio team. I like the worky at QB, but I've been underwhelmed with the skill position talent around him. Price looks a little bit rich to me for the Spartans, especially considering, what did we say about Northwestern last week? All you do is just take the dog in every Northwestern game. You make a profit every year. Lo and behold, it's working very well once again in 2018.
Heading to the Big 12, we got Kansas at West Virginia. Looks like 61.5 the total, with West Virginia laying more than 4 touchdowns now, 28.5 pretty much across the board, Teddy.
And the Jayhawks have actually been, I'm not going to say giving them battles, but they've been able to put up points in every recent year against Kansas. Now, I know that this West Virginia defense this year is better than the one that we've seen in recent years. But, I mean, last year, 56-34. Kansas, got put up points. The year before, 41-28. Kansas putting up points. So, can they do it again this year against this defense? I don't like the spot for West Virginia. Coming off the big win against Kansas State, the big win against Texas Tech, and that was, that was tight in the fourth quarter. West Virginia did their best to blow that game. If it wasn't for a Texas Tech pick six, West Virginia late pick six, as the Red Raiders were rallying down the field to tie the game, the Mountaineers might have lost that contest. So from a spot standpoint, I worry about them in this one. And again, this is a Kansas defense. Last week, Kansas offense, I say they were outgained by 200 yards against Oklahoma State, but they didn't turn the ball over, and they put 28 points on the scoreboard. There's not we've seen enough offense from Kansas this year to say, hey, maybe this team can come through the back door every once in a while. Although, again, when you're playing Kansas, you're playing the weakest team in any conference. There is that leap of faith. I'm not going to get to the window with them, even though I could only play the Jayhawks in a game that I worry about West Virginia and looking past them.
Teddy, heading to the SEC here, we got Alabama at Arkansas. With Alabama, Nick Saban and company laying, 5 touchdowns on the road, 35 right now, pretty much across the board, 56 the total.
Well, Arkansas couldn't move the ball against A&M. They couldn't move the ball against Auburn. They really didn't move the ball against North Texas, for that matter. Colorado State's got one win. That win came against Arkansas in a game where they couldn't move the ball for extended stretch in the second half of that game. They were outscored 17-0 by in the fourth quarter. I don't trust Arkansas to score any points against Alabama, and if Alabama's got the chance, of course they'll go for the shutout. Where's the weakness that this offense can exploit? It's not there.
No, it's not.
It's 41-9 last year, 49-30 the year before that.
There was a Alabama one a couple years ago.
Yeah, it was 2015 was a tight game, but you can't. The time to bet Alabama, and I give you credit. I didn't bet Alabama. I rarely play Alabama games, but if you were betting Alabama in September, you cash a couple tickets. Beat Louisville, beat Arkansas State, beat Mississippi, all wins and covers. Last 2 weeks they dominate A&M and don't cover, and dominate Lafayette and don't cover, and that tells me the markets are caught up with this team. When you're +2 in turnovers and you're gaining 600 yards of offense and outgaining your opponent by 320 yards, and you're not covering the spread, no bargains for the Alabama Crimson Tide. And I don't want to bet them over because I don't think Arkansas could score. I don't want to bet them under because Alabama could score in every possession. Easy pass.
Fair enough. We got one game left here, and guys, remember Teddy has his 91% sides, and he's got it up here at sportsmemo.com. That's in the NFL, over 60% in college football and NFL year to date. Check out sportsmemo.com for Teddy's services, discounts on the full season package. We got last game up, Teddy, 379-380 UAB. The Blazers going on the road to play Louisiana Tech, and it looks like Tech's laying 9.5 at home, 55 the total, Teddy.
Yeah, and you make a point there. Don't, please, if you're going to buy something, don't buy any of my plays. Do not don't pay for a play. Get a weekend package, get a weekly package, get a monthly package. I understand, if you're on a limited bankroll, you're not going to sign up for a season. That's fine. Get on board. Let me show you what we can do. It doesn't have to be me. There's lots of quality handicappers, guys who do this full time at sportsmemo.com. But I encourage you, don't pay for a play. Get a weekend. Get a week. Get a month. Get on board. Look, La Tech and UAB, interesting game. I certainly like La Tech in the dog role a lot more than I like them in the favorites role, and that's been the case throughout the Skip Holtz era. They're coming off a big win against North Texas, and they're facing a team that in UAB that is absolutely live to come through the back door. And UAB's 3-1 right now. Although all 3 wins at home, the one loss was a bad loss. They were laying 9 and lost by 23. And that was their lone game on the highway, which is certainly something of the concern. But, that UAB, I'm not going to call it explosive, but UAB does have some quick strike ability. And I like Ederle. I don't love him, but you can chuck the ball downfield. And the other thing UAB can do is they can grind. You see Spencer Brown running the football. You see Ederle having his chances. You see Kingston Davis moving the football on the ground. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if UAB hangs around in this one. It's not the La Tech role. That being said, Bulldogs are the better of these two teams, and maybe by a fairly wide margin.
Teddy, thanks for the time on the podcast. Anything else you want to throw out before we shut this down?
Yeah, enjoy the games. Good luck, but with your head not over it, blah, blah, blah. You guys know the drill. Thanks for listening.
All right, Teddy Covers. Follow him on Twitter at Teddy_Covers. We'll be right back with Robbie Veno to finish out the college football betting card on Every Game on the Board podcast.